All right, welcome into Market Day Report. I am Scott Shellady, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for tuning us in here today, and it's been an interesting one again. That's for sure. Why don't we take a quick look at corn, and we'll start with that market and see how your money's doing, right? Well, we've added another penny to the downside, that's for sure. Mayboard's down 7.5 cents now to 4.28 even. A half cent off the low of the day, well off the highs too here. So corn just trading heavy. We couldn't get over that or settle over 4.40 for any period of days there. So kind of giving up the ghost here. Again, 7.5 cents lower to 4.28 May corn. New crop D's down 5.75 cents to 4.69 even. That too is a half cent off the low of the day, 6.5 cents off the high. That's corn. How about beans? We were just on the good side of, well, now we're not. We've given up the ghost here. May's also lower by 2 cents. 11.83 3/4 is last. Look at that, man. We're about 16 cents off the high of the day. 2 cents lower in the May. 11.83 3/4 is last. Go out to the Novi new crop. Still up 1.25 cents to 11.83 3/4, just like May. How about that? All right. That May Nov spread is 0 right now. How about wheat in Chicago? The Chicago wheat market, 10.25 cents lower in that May contract. 5.46 3/4 is last. Just a penny off the lows. All right. How about that? We've got a D's board down 6.5 cents to 6.04 even, and that too is about a penny and a quarter off the lows as well. Moving from the wheat in Chicago, let's go to the hard red in Kansas City. That's down 8.5 cents to 5.67 even. 4 cents off the lows, 13.5 cents off the highs. Dees is down 8 cents to 5.94 3/4, and that too is still about 3.5 cents off the lows of the day, but about over a dime off the highs. And that's the hard red in Kansas City. From there, we'll go to spring wheat in Minneapolis, down 5.5 cents. 6.29 3/4 last, a penny off the lows. And if you look at, say, the Dees, that's down 4.5 cents to 6.66, a half cent off the lows there, and about 6 3/4 cents off the highs. Finally, let's take a look at cotton. We'll get to our guest analyst. Cotton's down 144 points in the May, 91.32 last. We're just down 5 points in Dees to 84.30 there. All right, let's bring in our next guest analyst. It's going to be Tommy Grisafi. He's with Advanced Trading in Valparaiso, Indiana. Tommy, all right, thanks for being on. It feels like we can't catch our feet here. We're not getting any traction. What do you say?
Well, we have headlines are coming out by the hour on bird flu and with the cattle, with the dairy, with humans. I thought after cattle went limit down, they traded limit down yesterday briefly, that it would be negative for the grains, but we managed to trade up overnight. And just a little bit ago, beans were having a heck of a day. They gave it back. But I will I'll ask you a question and answer it for you. Scotty, do you know where corn was trading at 10:59 on Thursday afternoon, 1 minute before the report came out? And the answer was 427.5 bid at 428. So Thursday's gigantic bullish news. Analysts got it wrong. The acres are smaller. We're back, like Duke and Duke saying they're back. That whole rally is gone. And in the end, we have too much corn, wheat, and beans. And we have these flurry of short covering rallies, which makes sense because the funds are heavily short. And maybe they went home over the weekend a little worried, but we opened on Sunday night lower. We have a tiny gap up there. I imagine at some point we'll go back and fill it. But for now, we are a heavy seller here in corn. Just looking over at my board, May corn down 8 cents, trading 427.5, 428. So all that work done on Thursday is gone. And with that, we'll talk cattle after the break, but it's very important on how cattle close. Scott, back to you.
Well, we're missing, depending on who you talk to, 6.3 million acres. The reasons why still yet to be seen. But I mean, boy, if they start to sneak back in a little bit, if we pick up some acres that we didn't, have in this last report, that's going to be heavy too.
Yeah, and we just had some huge rains come across central Illinois. If we can get eastern Iowa hitting the rains, we're going to go in to spring planting with the tank full, and we could have way too much corn, wheat, and beans. And there's other things too that, real quick before we go on break, gold hit all-time highs last night. Crude oil's at 6-month highs. Those are what you'd say very bullish things. Cocoa staying above 10, but corn today, that's down 8, and we'll talk about cattle when we come back from break, my friend.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, we've got a lot of other commodities that are hitting some good highs, inflation-based ones, and I also think we've got a little fear in the market, Tommy, with what we've seen happen over in the equities. All right, so let's, you stay right there. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Tommy Grisafi. He's with Advanced Trading, Valparaiso, Indiana. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's talk some livestock. This is where the fireworks were yesterday. We had Mr. Grisafi allude to that in the earlier segment. Let's take a look at the prices now. I've got live cattle pulled up. All right, well, we came back from the depths there. We looked like we didn't want to do anything, but April's now up $1.10, 181.17 is last. All we can get from the deferreds, though, is about a 20-cent gain. Look at these. That's up 20 cents to 180.10, well off the highs of the day and about 70 cents off the lows. All right, moving over to feeders. This is the way where these things are. They turned back in earlier. We found some buyers. April's up $1.32 to 241.75. You go all the way out the deferreds to October. That's up $1.22 to 255.40. All right, that's getting a little better. We had about over a $5 range out there in October. Let's take a look at lean hogs, and then we'll get back to our guest analyst. Lean hogs kind of mixed here, right? Like April's down 27 cents to 86.75, but June's up 12 cents to 103.62. So it doesn't really know what it wants to do. Lean hogs mixed across the board. Let's bring back in Mr. Tommy Grisafi, Advanced Trading, Valparaiso, Indiana. Thanks for being on, Tommy. All right, looks like we got a little bit of some buyers have stepped in here for the short term.
We've traded both sides. If you were caught long, you had a chance to sell it up a few bucks. If you were caught short, you had a chance to buy it lower. That's a pretty good function of the market. A lot of buyers and sellers showed up. People like me who may not trade cattle on the open. I was up early with 4 cattle tickets open, 4 feeder cattle tickets open, and the options. PJ brought up the point yesterday. I talked to Pat after work, and PJ Coade from RJO. He said big market moves like that make everyone show up. So for the viewers, for the listeners, guys like Scotty and I and PJ, we used to be in the pits. And if you wanted to facilitate trade, you had to run to that pit or call someone in that pit. Correct, Scotty?
Yep.
But Tommy Grisafi in his mom's basement has all these beautiful screens up. And I wasn't a cattle trader at 12:30 yesterday, and then at 12:40 I became a cattle trader. And so that's how liquidity has made it a drastic move. What happened yesterday was really serious. How we closed today's serious. And I'll say this before we go on commercial break. Feeders and cattle went down so much that it created a instant margin call. So people who were long, we'd trended down a few days. We touched limit down. We gobbled up all the extra money they had in their account for the longs. So the longs are sending in money today, depending on where they're long from. It definitely created some pain. And I talked to a few people in margin departments. They're very worried that, could we open up tomorrow and go limit down? First thing they said was, could we go limit down tomorrow? Well, here we are. The markets have stabilized. We're up a little. It's very important how we close. You know, they never email you, Scotty, viewers, listeners. They never email you before an event happens. Back to you, my friend.
And they never do. And I tell you what, it just shows you how fragile things are, too, about how quickly that thing turned around. All right. Great stuff. Great content, as usual. Thank you very much, Tommy Grisafi. He's with Advanced Trading in his mom's basement, Valparaiso, Indiana. We're bringing it back here to Nashville.